Hello, everybody. I'm Sergio.
And I'm Kimberly.
And welcome to the Partner Up Podcast. Welcome back to episode number 3. Kimberly, How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. All things considered, you know.
All things considered, what are we considering?
Well, a week from today, at this time, we'll be...
Getting our cutest little tax deduction.
Yes, we'll be probably in the hospital having a baby. Well, I want to say thank you for the interactions, the viewers, the comments we've gotten. We got more positive interactions, I think, than we thought we would. We thought like our parents were going to watch this.
I know.
Like,
I thought it was just going to be this like little thing where we were going to be saying, "Hey guys," and we were going to like hype it up, and it's just going to be like a couple people playing pretend.
Our parents are like best friends, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we thought there was going to be like 5 people who watched this, but let me see if I can pull out the viewership. So we currently have a whopping 11 subscribers.
Dang.
In 24.
We had 0 this time last night.
That's right, exactly.
So, I mean, look at that spike.
We have had 52 views on episode 1, I believe. But the thing that exploded is I started making reels to try to get people to discover the podcast. Mm-hmm. We have 500 views on the COVID from the governor of Texas reel. That's wild. Oh, and sorry, correction. The numbers just got updated. It's 116 views on episode 1 now.
Dang.
But apparently people like gravitated to that reel, that Governor Abbott.
I think there's a lot of buzzwords in there. COVID, Texas, Abbott, you know. But yes, thank you guys for listening, watching, however you listen or watching. Because right now we're going off views on YouTube, but we are releasing on YouTube and Spotify as of now because we're just doing this for fun. It's just me and Sergio doing this on our spare time. And speaking of time, we want to talk about the timing and how we're going to do this. So we released an episode last night, an episode this morning. Those are special. By the way. Those are special. Thank you. Special episodes because it was our very first one, released on Sunday night. And then Monday morning was, if you watched it, hopefully you did. It talked about a project process we're going through, and it was for a specific audience of people, aka our neighbors in San Antonio. And so hopefully that gets the reach that we wanted to get. But going forward, at least for the time being, it'll be monthly. We'll be releasing weekly. But
scared me.
We're gonna be banking some episodes, and it kind of goes back to the topic of today's episode, which is, I mentioned last time, I think, I'm pregnant. I know I'm pregnant. And I think I mentioned last time that I'm pregnant. I'm 38 and 6 days almost. So I'm about to be 39 weeks. And we're going to talk about that today and the whole journey and us deciding to have a family and then what I've gone through. And this is not medical advice. This is not a dig or advice. This is just what I have gone through, what we've gone through as upcoming new parents, you know? So we're going to be banking some episodes this week, making some episodes. You guys will still see me pregnant even after next week. And then after that, we'll see how I feel and then hopefully go back to a weekly schedule. But we're going to try to bank up a couple, a good amount to hopefully be able to post for 3 weeks after. And then hopefully by then I'm a little bit better. So you guys might see a little special guest, not her face probably, but she'll probably be here with us or off somewhere on the ground.
Well, technically she's already here with me. She is here.
Yeah, she's just a little,
stowaway.
Yes.
But yes, hopefully this will help us skip or stick to the schedule, I should say.
Yes. So we can always reevaluate though. Mm-hmm. Weekly, I think, is going to be our goal. And then depending on how it goes, how I do postpartum, maybe we'll up the amount of episodes because we do have a lot of fun doing these. And there's lots of topics. We have a list of ongoing topics we want to talk about.
I think nothing has changed. I think the only difference is now there's microphones and cameras. But I mean, this is what we did in the couch.
Yeah, that's true. We would just talk to each other. So to get started, I think we should talk about just like how we decided to start having a family. Because even before we got married, before we got engaged, we always talked about having kids, Right. And I think both of us always wanted kids. At times people didn't get that from us. I've been told like, oh, you want kids? Like, yes, I've always wanted children. That's been, and I don't know if it was the same for you growing up.
Yeah, no, I always knew that was in the cards. I never not wanted kids. So for me,
sometimes though you're like, oh, the responsibility of a child is a little bit.
Yes. Okay. So for me, the decision was not necessarily about whether or not I wanted kids. It's when I wanted kids. I wanted to have certain milestones achieved before I had kids, because I know that once you have kids, things change completely.
Yeah.
So what you have the ability to do and not do change, and you're gonna need to be prepared for that. So I wanted to make sure I had certain things lined up and ready to go for when we had kids.
Yeah. Because we always knew, and we talked about it before, like we have investments, we have things that we did before, and we did this all before, last year when we decided we wanted to have a child. And so I think it just kind of sets us up, because some people don't have the chance to make the decision. The decision is just
thrust upon them,
which is
pun unintended.
Which is okay, it happens to people, but for us, we were lucky enough that we were able to kind of like, okay, we're ready, let's go, and then we decided to have children. So that's kind of like where we, we were where we wanted to be in our careers, where we wanted to be financially, and I think it was a little scary because like the moment we both came to the decision, I remember together, like around the same time. I remember like I was doing this Bible study. And I just had there was this one verse, and I was like, man, I need to tell Sergio, like I think it's time. And I think like that same day, that in the evening, you came to me and you were like, hey, I think, and I was like, I also think it's time. So we kind of came to it on our own as individuals, because I think that's an important part to reflect on, not just as a couple, but as individuals too. Like, am I, Kimberly, ready to be pregnant? And are you, Sergio, ready to deal with me pregnant?
I think it wasn't a matter of whether or not we're ready. Everybody always tells me you're never going to be ready.
Never fully ready.
You're never going to be prepared. You're never going to have all the check boxes done.
Yeah.
You can only get as close. I feel like
we got as close as possible.
Exactly. I felt like I was comfortable enough with the ambiguity of what could go wrong to move forward.
Yeah.
I'm like, at this point, I feel like we have enough variables controlled that no matter within the realm of possibilities, we're going to be good.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, with that, I think, let me close the door.
Nice.
With that, I think, we can talk about how it's been for me, because every woman is different. And I'm going to preference again, my experience is very unique from what I've heard from other people. So when I got pregnant, we got pregnant very quickly. I know all my friends told me it takes time. Everybody I know took, time. They had a bunch of issues. And for us, it just kind of happened right away. And we were like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be quick, because I was like, oh, we have time. We're going to start trying. And then it's going to take a few months. Maybe I'll be pregnant by the end of the year. We'll see. But nope. It was 2 days after Mother's Day that I took a test. And I was like, oh, it's not going to be positive. It's not going to be positive. And then it was. And I remember being like, and I had told nobody. We had told nobody. Not even my best friends who knew that I was like on this journey of deciding whether we wanted to have kids or not. I hadn't even told them. And I didn't want to tell any of our family, obviously, because the pressure of like, we're both the oldest. We're both the only ones in a long-term relationship. First grandchild is coming. I didn't want our parents to like, be like, oh my gosh. It's also kind of weird when you tell your parents you're starting to try, I think. So I didn't want to put that pressure on ourselves and on them too, because obviously they'd be excited for us. So we didn't tell anybody. And I remember going to a Mother's Day dinner with my dad's side of the family. And I remember it was like all the moms, and some of my cousins are moms. Obviously my aunts and my mom were there, and they gave all the moms flowers. It's so funny. It's actually this flower pot.
Oh yeah,
empty flower pot. The flower died because I'm not a good plant mom, as well. Yeah, no, I'm not. So I remember they're like, oh, well, you're a dog mom, so why don't you take this plant? And I was already pregnant, but nobody knew, not even us. We didn't know I was pregnant at the time. So then we found out, and it was actually on Yeresi's graduation, or the day after her graduation too, because her graduation was the day after Mother's Day, and then I took the test the day after her. So a lot of things were happening at that time. So I was pregnant during Yeresi's graduation too. So I did not get sick at all.
I know, that's weird.
And that's very unique. I think a lot of women get sick. It's natural. Your hormones, your body's changing. You feel very fatigued. I got sick more. I got the common cold, like twice when I was in my first trimester. So I was, I think, a little bit more sensitive at the time. Mm-hmm. But when I wasn't sick, I was fine. I was still jogging because I do races, 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. I was still jogging my first trimester. I was still working out. I was still eating, pretty regularly. And so I had a very good first trimester. We went on a cruise during my first trimester.
That's right.
For our 1-year wedding anniversary, we went to the, Bahamas and Dominican Republic.
Yeah. That's right.
From Miami. So, and I remember being a little bit nervous. My doctor gave me a note like, hey, you can still go.
Well, it was going to be our anniversary cruise because did we go during our anniversary?
We went on our wedding anniversary from our religious ceremony in our Mexico wedding.
Because it was originally going to be your birthday cruise,
we were going to go on our birthday, but then when we decided to start trying, we were like, okay, we're going to start. I moved up the cruise. We had to pay a little bit extra, but I was like, you know what? I might be super pregnant on my birthday. Let me move it up because I knew we were going to start. And the good thing I did because the next month I was pregnant and I would have been 7 months pregnant at the time and I wouldn't have been able to go.
Yeah. I remember we pushed it forward. We went on the cruise and I could not finish alcohol.
So
like the amount of alcohol credits that they gave me.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I couldn't drink them. And originally I had gotten a deal, like, they have deals randomly throughout the month or the year. I gotten us a package where we got like, I think 300 each or something like that.
For context, this was going to be Kimberly's 30th birthday cruise.
Yes.
We were going to go on a cruise on her 30th birthday. Yes. So she got the I want to get wasted package.
Yes, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be ready to get pregnant. So I was like, you know what? We'll go on this cruise when I turn 30. I'm going to have so much fun. Going to get wasted. And then after that, we'll decide if we want kids. But then the decision kind of just came to us. So then I moved it. But the package, it was a package we had already prepaid for. So they weren't going to give me a refund. So I was able to give my side of the package to Sergio. And so we divided it and we're like, okay, every day you have to drink this amount. And I don't think it was a 5-day cruise. You couldn't reach it those days.
No, I could not. No.
So I have to go back and do it because it was an adult only cruise and it was very nice because we've been on Carnival. This was Virgin Voyages. Highly recommend. I thought it was a very nice cruise compared to Carnival.
Is that the one that has all the disappearances where people get killed?
No, that's Royal Caribbean.
Okay.
It's not a true crime one. Okay. We're going to get to true crime another day.
No, I was just trying to remember because I know there's one line you told us.
Royal Caribbean, I feel like has the most, all of them have disappearances. That's just a fact. But I feel like Royal Caribbean is the one that has the most famous ones. And then I think a little bit of Disney cruises. I actually listened to an episode today about a disappearance on a Disney cruise.
Wow. You know what I bet they have?
What?
I bet they have adults that are staying up past 10 p.m.
So because I was in my first trimester on the cruise, I slept a lot.
Yeah, you did.
I actually have pretty bad motion sickness, even as a regular person, not just being pregnant. Mm-hmm. So
the cruise we went to with your family, what was it, the year before?
A year or two before, yeah.
Yeah, that one you got real bad motion sickness for one day. You just stayed in the cabin.
And so because people were like, oh, it's because you're pregnant. No, it's because I get motion sickness. Ask our friends when we went to Vegas. I sat in the back seat of the van of the Suburban. And I got super bad motion sickness.
And yeah, rip Omega Mart.
Yeah, so and
we'll explore you next time.
Yes, we have the little magnet I got you, even though we didn't get to go because I was super sick. But yeah, so we went on a cruise. That's how good I felt. I got motion sickness whenever we leave the port. That's when I feel it more. Mm-hmm. So I got a little motion sickness, and we were sitting in a restaurant with all the windows open and eating at the time. So it was a little bit not the best scenario, but it was fine. But we had a lot of fun. There was a Stingray. We rode jet skis. So
okay, hold on.
I don't know.
you just jumped all over the place. Now, okay, we're off the ship.
Yes, we're off the ship.
We're on the excursion.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't even an excursion. Luckily, I speak Spanish.
Yes. No, we went to... That was in Bimini on the Bahamas when we rode jet skis.
Right. So we got hit Bimini on the way back.
Yes.
So we went all the way down to the Dominican Republic in Puerto Plata. We got down, right?
It's right there. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Puerto Plata.
Yes.
We got down in Puerto Plata. I remember we did some tours.
Like a walking tour.
Yeah. It was just walking. I was able to get us.
And I felt good. The entire time, Felt good. We got in a taxi into the middle of town, and then we like walked the rest of the way.
Okay, you're walking in. How pregnant are you?
I think it was only 11 weeks or 12 weeks at the time.
All right.
So I was still early.
So for context, is this around the time that most pregnant ladies are like face full of toilet?
Yes. Like people are sick, you're vomiting, you're throwing up. And I was over there living a beach life, just walking on the sand.
Brag about it, man.
So I feel like I wanted to share this because I heard nothing but like, you're going to be sick the entire time and you're going to hate your body and you're going to be miserable. And so I was really nervous to go on the cruise, and I was like, well, we paid for it. Let's just do it. And I had an amazing time, except for getting motion sickness, but that's just me as a person. So yeah, and then we rode jet skis when we went back.
Right. No, so then
I don't know if that's advised when you're pregnant.
It wasn't, but it was fun.
It was fun. I didn't get hurt.
We got 2 jet skis for an hour each.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were just
so much fun
riding them back and forth.
It was so much fun.
I didn't know this at the time, but I told you, I swear I saw a shark. And you're like, no, you're crazy. And then later we were riding the jet skis and then we saw a stingray go down the entire shore.
Yes, we saw that.
And that was like where the people were swimming. And it just like zoomed. And I'm terrified of stingrays after what happened to Steve Irwin.
Rest in peace, yeah.
So that happened when I was like a kid.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
if
remember
it was,
that too.
I don't know if we were like how young we
old
were, but I just remember I was young enough to make me scared of stingrays.
Yeah. So we went back to our cabana and like we're just there the rest of the day after we saw the stingray because the water was beautiful.
Yeah.
But after that stingray, it was a little.
Oh man, it was just so hot. I remember
there was no wind.
There was no wind.
The hurricane that
it was
passed.
just hot, and like it was like choking the heat.
Beautiful beach, beautiful water. The weather. We're from Texas. We know what heat is, but like
that was a whole nother level of like not being able to breathe. Like I remember the only sort of relief I got from the heat was literally like going into the water and then just coming out.
Yeah. I took a nap. I remember taking a nap and it was hard because like when you're sleeping with no breeze on the beach, it's like, oh, I can't breathe. Yeah. But we're going on a tangent on our trip. So, but yeah, I felt really good. Just got seasick when I was there, and hope, if people are listening to this that are nervous about getting pregnant because you're afraid you're going to get sick, it does not happen to everybody. It happens to a lot of women, but just know like it might not happen to you. And I was lucky enough. My mom never got morning sickness. I did not know that until I got pregnant. I told her. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we want to talk about how we told our families.
Well, first I want to I don't want it to come off because I know you don't want to just like, oh, look at me, I had a great pregnancy. Yeah. Be jelly. No. I remember during that specific time, you felt guilty.
I did.
About that. Like, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I felt really guilty because I felt like I should feel sick.
Go ahead.
I felt like, oh my gosh, is the baby, and we didn't know the gender at the time. So I was like, is the baby okay? Mm-hmm. Like, I feel nothing. Like, I feel normal. Like, I think I had gained like 3 pounds at the time. And I was like, I feel nothing. Obviously, I wasn't going to feel the baby move yet. So I felt really guilty. And whenever I'd go to the doctor, they'd be like, oh, that's normal. Like, you can see her here. And like, we didn't know it was a girl at the time. But you can see the baby here. And look, they're normal. The heartbeat's good. So I felt really guilty because I was like, maybe I should feel sick. Like, I should be suffering because that's what moms do. Moms suffer for their kids. But that's not always the case. You could have a good pregnancy. You can have a good time in your pregnancy. And so that's what I've experienced for the most part, but we'll get into something else that's happened to me. I didn't get sick, but I got something else. But yeah, so the second trimester was, I mean, it was pretty...
Okay, hold on. Okay, so trimesters. What is this? What are they?
So you go through 3 trimesters when you're pregnant. Okay. I don't remember the weeks exactly, but first trimester is just the beginning when like...
So the word tri, I'm assuming it means you have the pregnancy. It's divided into
three
sections, right?
3 timings.
In football you have quarters. In hockey you have periods. In pregnancies you have trimesters.
Yes.
Right. First trimester is usually when the first like round of hormones hit you, right? Mm-hmm. What is the second trimester known for?
You get your energy back and you feel better. And I felt good my second trimester. We traveled again. We're going to just sound crazy, but we did it on purpose. I think we traveled when we could because we knew having the baby was gonna kind of stall us. So we went to where did we go? We won't talk about this trip as long. We went to Cancun with your family.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I got on another boat and I got motion sickness again. And everyone's like, it's because she's pregnant. I'm like, no, I promise it's not because I'm pregnant. It's because I get severe motion sickness.
Yeah.
So we won't talk about that trip too much. But yeah, so I felt good. You know, I had taken some tests because, you know, diabetes runs in my family. I had taken an extra test and I was clear at the time, I did not have gestational diabetes. But at the very end of my second trimester, I took the actual test you take, which is the like 1 hour glucose test. And I failed it so bad that I didn't have to take. There's normally a second test you take, a 3 hour glucose test. I failed the 1 hour so bad that they're like, no, you have gestational diabetes. And now we can talk about like the struggles that I went through.
What is gestational diabetes? So most of our listeners
and again,
are probably
not medical advice. This is just what we've learned and how we perceive it.
Yes, this is your truth.
Yeah.
So for our listeners at home and fellow men who might not, you know, be read up on this and might be in a similar situation, gestational diabetes. We might have heard about diabetes before from a relative or something, you know, pancreas doesn't secrete enough insulin to handle the blood sugar and it won't bring it down. So gestational means that it's only during pregnancy, or what is it?
It's only during pregnancy and it's caused by your placenta. I don't know like all the medical terms and exactly, but it basically like my placenta is like the way it absorbs sugar is different or some jibber jabber like that. Basically, I have too much sugar right now. My insulin is too, like I didn't need to take insulin. Thank goodness I was able to control mostly with my meals and some little wife tales I'll talk about later. But yeah, so it's just like your placenta is producing, I think, more sugar than it should, or it's like not absorbing the sugar correctly. And it can mean your baby can grow too much. It can mean your baby's blood sugar gets affected when they're born. So that's what gestational diabetes is. And
Gotcha.
I've had friends who've had it, mostly diet controlled. I got on metformin at night to take it. And then a wife's tale that I learned from my gestational diabetes support group on Facebook. I drink pickle juice every night. And that, for some reason, helps my blood sugar. And I saw it on Facebook, and it's worked for me. You know, during the holidays, my number would spike a little bit, but it's been fine. And
I remember we were trying everything. So for everyone at home who doesn't know, like what you have to do to do the gestational diabetes. So essentially, you eat a meal, right? And I'm not mansplaining this for you. Would you like to?
No, you can explain it. I want to see what your perception of it is too.
You eat something, and the only reason I'm fairly familiar with this process is because I was on keto and I would do the ketone strips. So it's the same thing, just for blood sugar instead of the ketones. So you poke yourself, just like everybody's seen it. You grab the blood, you put it in the blood meter. The thing is, you have to do it 1 hour after you eat to see how the food that you ate spiked your blood sugar.
My blood sugar, yes.
Right. So every day, your blood sugar after you ate was fine, right?
Yes.
But we were having issues getting your fasting blood sugar.
So in the morning before I ate anything, you can drink water in the middle of the night, but you couldn't have anything else. And I would wake up and my fasting sugar would be really bad. It wouldn't be like super crazy horrible, but it would be higher than my doctor wanted to see it. Right. And she gave me about a month to try it out. You know, I tried, you know, eating protein, drinking a protein shake at night, not eating anything, having a super early dinner. And I don't think I got any good numbers until I started the metformin and drinking the pickle juice. So I've been really lucky that's, you know, not all women want to go that route. Like some of them will try everything before they get on any medication, and that's their choice. But I was okay with getting on metformin, the lower dosage of it, and it's helped me. And I now have a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes after my pregnancy, but I have to just kind of be careful. I'm Hispanic. Diabetes runs in my family. So that's kind of already what I was already going to have to be a little bit more conscious of that. So this pregnancy has kind of also just opened my eyes to being more careful. Right.
And type 2 diabetes can be reversed with diet and exercise.
Yeah.
And now with other medications come out. So it's treatable. You just got to make sure you take care of yourself.
Yeah. And I am, don't get me wrong, I have a list of food that said is going to bring me to the hospital that I'm ready to eat because like white rice spikes me, and I loved eating sushi, cooked sushi before I got my diagnosis, and sweets, I was a little more of a salty girl. Like,
yes. Yeah. I can confirm. Very salty.
When before we found out the gender of our baby, they say the old wives' tales like, oh, if you crave sweet, it's a boy. If you crave salty, no. If you crave salty, it's a boy. Sweet, it's a girl. And I crave salty a lot, but I can't have that. I couldn't have chips. I've worked around it with pork rinds. Because of
you were basically on keto. That's what it was.
But I have to. My doctor says I have to eat a little bit more carbs because I need the baby to grow. I can't do like no carbs at all because the baby needs to get a little bit. She needs to get a little bit chunky.
I mean, which is why I was so like fine with the diet. Like usually we eat whatever you eat.
Yeah.
Right. So I remember when I was on keto, it was just like meat. It was low carb.
Yeah.
We didn't necessarily go full in keto because for full keto you have to do like fat bombs and you take a lot of fat intake as well.
And my family heart problems in my family, so
we didn't do that.
Yeah.
We just did the as low carbs as possible.
Yeah.
But this time the doctor told us you need to make sure you're having
like
some
fruit,
carb intake.
like still some fruit, still some grains. Like we didn't do that when you were on keto before, and I was gaining weight steadily throughout my pregnancy. When before I got the diagnosis. After the diagnosis and I changed my diet, I lost weight. I lost like a couple pounds. I think I lost like 5 pounds. And now I'm like right under the highest weight I was originally. But I only have a week left. So I don't think, and I told my friend, I said, okay, I had a goal. I had a weight I didn't want to pass. And I'm 10 pounds away from that. I don't think I'm gaining 10 pounds in a week. So I'm pretty happy, even though it's not fun having gestational diabetes because you worry about your baby. You worry about how it's going to affect them and how it's going to affect your body. It was a little bit of a lesson. I won't say it was good because it wasn't good to have. Trust me, like it's not good to have gestational diabetes. But the diets, getting on my emotional support groups about having gestational diabetes, like other women seeing what they're going through, has helped me just realize like I'm on a little bit of medication. I have to change my diet. But because my pregnancy has been so good, because my pregnancy after the first trimester continued to be good, I stopped jogging after I got the cold a couple of times. But then I would still go on walks. Like I have a walking pad in my office upstairs. I would go walking outside, as the weather got nicer. So I was very, very lucky that I was still able to do all that. Even up until my, 8 months, even...
you ran a 5K while pregnant.
I walked a 5K. I don't want to...
Okay.
I did a 5K in San Antonio with my mom when I was 8 months pregnant. And then just last weekend, you, me, and Bella went on a little walk, together. And I feel so great that I'm still able to do that. I still want to go on like a couple more walks before, I have her, because I don't know when the next time... Because that's a clarity thing I do. Like I don't just do it for my health. I do it for like my mentality also, my emotional health. I love going outside and walking. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that super postpartum because you need to like rest and be in bed. And I'm not used to being just in bed all the time. So I want to get a couple more walks in before I'm stuck sitting in one place.
Yeah, you don't know how to sit still.
I don't know how to sit still. That is correct. So yeah, I mean, it's been a journey. I think I skipped over a bunch of things. We had... My family, both of our families threw us baby showers, one in the U.S., one in Mexico. And then my friends threw me a surprise baby shower, which was really nice. And you helped organize that. And I was being very stubborn because I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because you were being very weird about it. But, I think for me, the hardest thing that's pregnancy, not even gestational diabetes, because that has been manageable because I learned a lot. When you were on keto, I'm an active person, even though times people look at me and they're like, what, you've run half marathons? Like, yes, I have. I think the emotional part is like the hidden struggle women go through when they're pregnant. And that's been tough for me because I don't necessarily share that too much with people. It's mostly just been with you and a couple of, maybe sometimes with my friends, but like, I don't like showing my emotions. I don't like getting personal. This will probably be like the most personal episode we'll probably do of this podcast. But yeah, like struggling, like not having our families close by. Like that's been a struggle. Like I don't think people realize when you're pregnant, especially with your first child and you don't have your parents, or especially like for me, like my mom close by, that's a little bit of emotional struggle because like you want like the people, you understand your mama more. I think some other pregnant ladies, other first time moms will be like, oh, I didn't get it, and now I get it. Mm-hmm. Because like you just worry so much, and you're like, oh, this is what my mom feels like. Like what? Like this is like you feel crazy almost when you worry about your child. And so I think that's been like the biggest like thing is like the emotional struggle. And I hope as people see this that they feel like, okay, I'm not the only one.
Right. And I think it's important to have these conversations because I remember when we were first trying to figure things out, I would ask you questions because I would assume that you would know the answer. I'm like, yeah, you're a girl. Like, obviously they talked to you about this. I'm like, no.
I learned so much. Like, I won't get into like all the details because some of it can be a little bit, I won't say gross because I don't think any of the process is gross.
Triggering.
It can be triggering. It could be just like, it's super personal, you know?
Off-putting.
I guess. I didn't know things about like when you go into labor. Like we took a bunch of classes. I didn't know like the inner workings of my body, even like my reproductive system. Like I didn't understand like what's the cervix and like the placenta is a part of the uterus where like how does it grow and like how does it affect like the other parts of my body. And like I didn't know that until I did my own research. I talked to my doctor and we took classes at the hospital. Because like all my friends have kids. Pretty much all of my friends have children. And even like you don't really talk about that with anybody. My mom had me obviously, and I asked her, tell me the truth. Tell me. And she's like, oh, it was great. You were perfect. I was like, no, be real with me. Tell me the truth. So you learn so much. And I hope like I've sat down with your sisters and I've been like, this is what they told me. And it's not this. And you know, this is what this means. And so I hope, you know, when our kids are older, I'm hopefully honest with them and they're not clueless, because I felt clueless. I thought I knew a lot about pregnancy and becoming a mom, and like you learn that you don't know a lot when you go into it. You don't know a lot about pregnancy. You don't know a lot about your own body or your own mind, because it affects you a lot mentally, being pregnant. Not to scare anybody, but having a great partner is, I think, key because you've been very supportive. So thanks for that. You've been you've been great. I know some people worry, like they see, you know, a typical gamer husband. They're like, oh, is he going to be supportive? But you've been extremely supportive physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of that. Whatever I needed, you've been great. And it's funny because there's at times where I'm like, stop helping me, because I want to feel like normal. I want to feel like Kimberly. I'm not just an incubator, because some people treat me like, oh my gosh, like, what are you doing? Like you're moving a box. It's like, yes, I'm still a person. Like I'm not just this incubator. I feel like I'll need more help after I have the baby, because my body, it's growing the baby. It's, you know, I believe it's meant to grow this baby. Afterwards, when it like has this struggle of pushing out the baby or having the baby, whichever way I end up having the baby, that's when my body will have been more traumatized, and that's when I'll need more support from other people.
Right.
And so we've set up our house, you know, for all that, but it's still like people need to know it's not just like when you're pregnant, it's like the postpartum period too, because that's when they've said it gets, the hormones and the emotional changes get worse. So
what was that metric you told me? You told me that coming off pregnancy is the equivalent of...
Well, on social media I saw this. I don't know how accurate this is, but it's like the equivalent of coming off like if you were taking 100 birth control pills and you stop and it like goes out of your system within 3 days or something like that.
Even if you take that like with a grain of salt and like, oh yeah, they're just exaggerating, like it puts it in like perspective. And it's like there's a huge hormonal imbalance that's about to take place because you had this entity inside you, this other whole other person inside you. Yeah. And from literally one day to the next, it's gone.
I know. And I love feeling her move. I know some people have told me like, oh, it's going to be annoying, but like, I love feeling her move. Even in the middle of the night, I feel, oh, and we didn't even talk about when we found out she was a girl. We found out with the blood test pretty early on, and we didn't tell anybody.
We did, what is it, the reverse gender
We did.
reveal?
We knew the gender, but nobody else knew the gender.
Right.
Our families were not necessarily happy about that. But
I had some choice words with my mom.
But it was a choice that we wanted to do because it's our first child. I think we wanted to make it special and like for us to decide. We didn't want anyone, you know, giving us any of their opinions, names or thoughts. Like we wanted it to be ours for a little bit, and it was really special. And the way we told our families, I think, was really special. We had mariachi, all female mariachi dressed in pink come into the baby shower and play a song. So I think that was really special. And to me, it's still one of my favorite memories, like seeing everyone's reaction and stuff. So that's how we found out. But that's how we told our families. But we found out just us opening the blood test results at your computer. I think I was sick. Because it was pretty early on. So it was one of the times I had the cold and I was sick.
Yes.
And it was just it was very intimate. We didn't do like the cake or like type in the cake or the cup, that everyone does right now. But it was still nice. Our reaction is somewhere on one of your computers. Like we recorded ourselves reacting to it. Yeah. I remember crying because I was really excited we were going to have a girl. And it's just, I was a firstborn daughter. And I think they're very unique, your firstborn son. So it's a little different for you because you don't have that unique experience. But I think she's going to be a great addition to our little family. And you're not going to be outnumbered. Don't worry. Like I know people are like, oh, you're going to be outnumbered. I think it'll be a great balance.
Listen, I've been outnumbered my whole life. Okay. I grew up with 2 younger sisters and my mom. So it's always been 3 against 2 in my household. So I remember people are like, did you want a girl? Did you want a boy? I'm like, I just like my entire thing has been like, I just want it like healthy is what I want. Right. I don't necessarily care because I felt if I get a boy, easy peasy, no problem. Mm-hmm. I know how to handle boys. I've been a boy because I'm a boy and I've been around boys my whole life. So I know how it goes.
Yeah.
And if I get a girl, I've been around my sisters my whole life. So I know how to deal.
Yes. And what did they tell you when they found out? Like, oh, we've been preparing you. You're welcome.
Yeah. That was the common sentiments. Like, you're welcome. You're now prepared.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. I think, and gender disappointment isn't a bad thing. Isn't like, especially I think after you start having more kids and like, say you want a boy, but you have 3 girls, I think it's okay. Obviously you're still going to love the child, but I think people need to know that like, we're each our own person. Like some people want all girls and some people want all boys and some people want a mixture. And I think everyone has their right to feel however they feel. I think it was a little hard, like, oh, like I want this, but I shouldn't want this gender. But I think I've learned as I've gone along, like everyone's different and it's okay to feel what you feel. Like don't ever feel bad about feeling a certain way. As long as in the end, we're going to love our daughter no matter what.
Mm-hmm. I remember, and because you would ask me like, "What if it's a girl? Are you not gonna be happy?" I'm like, "No, no, absolutely." The analogy that I've heard is it's like ice cream, right? When you want to go get something sweet, you go get ice cream. You chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, cheesecake flavored now.
Yeah,
it's different flavors, but it's all ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have a great time regardless.
Yeah, I think we are gonna have a great time, and I think to kind of start wrapping it up because this will be our longest episode, barely the third episode, right? But I think what I've learned from this experience is that you can think you're prepared and you think you know everything, but you don't, and be okay with learning to grow. I think we've grown as a couple, and we've also grown individually because we've had to make sacrifices or make changes. Like we didn't even talk about other things we've gone through. I mentioned it in, I think episode 1. I was laid off when I was 7 months pregnant, and that's added a whole other dynamic to how this pregnancy's gone and like what's happened or what choices or changes I've had to make, because of that. And I think it's just as I feel a bunch more confident now, like hopefully when we have another child after this baby's here, I'll feel more confident and I'll know what to expect because I was clueless. Like I thought I was going to do all this research. You get tired. Like my pregnancy has been good. You're just tired a lot. You're tired in the first trimester. You're okay in the second, but then you're just tired again in the third, especially right now. Like today I was like, I'm going to be so productive. I took a nap today but then my friends are like, you should rest as much as you can. So I'm not trying to be too productive. And like the whole self-image thing, like, because I was a person before very active, as you know.
Right.
And that's been hard. I think a pretty hard realization is that you can't do everything. And I've struggled with that definitely during this pregnancy because I want to do everything. Because I'm used to moving furniture by myself. I'm used to, while you're working, or I'm used to just like leaving and going and living for hours and going shopping or going and working out or just doing whatever I want. And that's going to change. Mm-hmm. And I think, your self-image of who you are, like you lose it a little bit, but then you're going to rediscover it as you go through your pregnancy and you become a mom. Because that's what I'm learning. I think you as a dad too, it's going to be a little bit different because you're not pregnant, but you're also going to be going through changes alongside me.
Yeah, I think my opinion, and we'll see if this stays the same, but I feel bringing kids into the picture it doesn't stress a relationship. It doesn't make things worse. It amplifies a relationship.
Whatever is going on.
If you have a good foundation, you have a good structure set up, if you have a good emotional support system with family or friends or anybody, and you have people who you can rely on, then it's gonna show that. It's gonna amplify that. If you have, and at the same time, if you're lacking something, if you're missing something, the same thing. It's going to amplify the fact that you're missing on that thing. So whether it be communication, whether it be financial strains, if you're barely making it, then it's going to amplify that, which is why, I felt we were ready. I felt we were in a good place to do it. And hopefully everything will be great.
Yes. So when you guys are listening to this, I will be either at the hospital or going to the hospital probably for my delivery. And I think I want to end too. It was like our daughter. She probably will listen to this one day.
A little time capsule.
Our little time capsule. What do you think? How do you think she'll feel about us like talking about this? Because like I wish I could know how my parents felt when they were having me.
I think she'll know that she wasn't an accident.
Yes.
If anything.
I know. Telling people it's like, this wasn't an accident, I promise. Because we didn't tell anybody when we wanted to. So everyone's like, oh, did you want this? Like, yes, we did want this. Even if it was an accident, I still would say I still wanted this baby. Because I knew, like I said, we knew we always wanted kids. But I hope what she takes from this as she's listening to it, I'm not going to say her name because not everybody knows her name just yet. But I hope she takes it like we are trying our best. Because, as a teenager, as a young adult, sometimes you don't think your parents know everything or don't think they're doing the best for you. And I think, as we've gotten older, we've probably felt that too to our parents. Like, do they know what they're talking about? They don't really know. I think our parents tried their best. And just like we're trying our best for our child and hopefully future children. And we're just doing our best and we're going to learn along the way. It's our first child. And I hope that she knows that we're just doing what we can and what we think is best, but we're going to learn alongside with her.
That's right. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on episode 3 of the Partner Up podcast. I'm Sergio.
I'm Kimberly.
Hopefully see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.